All right, welcome back, crime fighters. It's another edition of Calhoun County's Most Wanted, the program where you get to help make Calhoun County a better and safer place by helping us find and lock up the bad guys. I'm Chris Wright, along with John Garlick from the Calhoun County Sheriff's Office.
Hey, Chris.
And the emphasis is on the fine and not the lockup. We don't want our citizens locking people up.
That's correct. That's
Leave
correct.
that to you and
you
the
call,
deputies.
we haul. Yeah, you find him, you point, go, there he is, and we'll go get him.
Mm-hmm.
We can do that. Very
You
good.
don't need to go out and buy your own set of handcuffs or anything like that.
No.
No, okay.
Don't.
But they always do a great job for us on the finding part, an excellent job, and again this week.
We do. Look at that. So six people arrested this week, bringing our count to 4,222. 222. So that's awesome. That many people brought to justice over the course of this show. 6 people last week. We get phone calls and we respond. It's wonderful.
And it's not just phone calls, too. You know, we do encourage people to call Calhoun County Crime Stoppers, 238-1414, if you've got information. But we stay in touch with the community in so many different ways through social media, Facebook and Twitter and such, and lots of other ways.
Yeah, our Facebook page is very popular. We get Facebook messages. Although I will caution, if you've got something that you really ought to call 911 on, don't send us a Facebook message, because we're not constantly monitoring those. So if it's something happening right then, right now, call 911. That's still the best way. But we get a lot of tips through that.
And we put out a lot of information through the social media as well. So if you just want to be informed of what's going on in the community, sometimes it's about weather, sometimes it's about traffic, sometimes it's about crime. It can be about anything that affects the safety of the people in Calhoun County.
That's correct. We try to keep it, local stuff, important stuff you need to know, and hopefully at a time you need to know it.
So check that out on social media and stay in touch. However works for you, but again, if it's an emergency, 911 is the way to go. We need to take a quick break. When we come back, we'll have the first half of this week's lineup and some Shakespeare on Calhoun County's Most Wanted.
And welcome to this week's edition of Calhoun County's Most Wanted. First up on our lineup this week, Clarence Watts. Mr. Watts, last known to be living in Piedmont. He's wanted for failure to appear, for possession of a controlled substance and use, and possession of drug paraphernalia. And meet Ramon Soria. Mr. Soria, last known to be living in East Daboga. He's wanted for unauthorized use of a vehicle. And this is Brian Sanders. Mr. Sanders, last known to be living in Montgomery. He's wanted for failure to appear on theft by deception first. And take a look at David Huddleston. Mr. Huddleston, last known to be living in Anniston. He's wanted for failure to appear on possession of a controlled substance and possession of marijuana second. And take a look at Angela Huggins. Miss Huggins, last known to be living in Anniston. She's wanted for probation violation on obstructing of justice by using a false identity. And meet Quashawn Pottard. Mr. Pottard, last known to be living in Anniston, wanted for bond revocations on possession of a controlled substance, possession of forged instrument, use and possession of drug paraphernalia, and attempting to elude. And last up for the first half of our lineup, Amanda Ayers. Miss Ayers, last known to be living in Weaver. She's wanted for failure to appear on illegal possession of a credit or debit card. And that's it for the first half of our lineup. Stay tuned for the second half later in the show.
All right, more bad guys coming up in just a few minutes, but let's talk about something positive, John.
Positive.
We got to do that.
Theater and Shakespeare is positive.
It is.
It is positive.
It is. And Calhoun County has a long history with Shakespeare. Some of it we're not happy about because they left.
That's right.
But now Shakespeare's back.
It's coming back.
And we've got Carrie and Avery here from the Shakespeare Project to tell us all about the rebirth of Shakespeare in Anniston. This is cool. Welcome.
Yeah, thank you. Thanks for having us. Yeah, we're trying to bring it back.
Are you trying or are you bringing it back?
We are bringing it back.
See, that's more positive.
It's back.
For people that don't know the history, the Alabama Shakespeare Festival, which is now in Montgomery, originally started in Anniston and had great success here. I went to see all the shows and I had my autograph book and I'm getting autographs from these actors and it was wonderful. And then somebody said, we're going to give you a bunch of money, but we need you to move it to a bigger city. And so it moved down to Montgomery, and it's great down there. but we need some Shakespeare back here in Anniston, and you guys are doing it.
Yeah, and you know that really is what inspired it too. So Emily Duncan, who's at the Calhoun County Chamber of Commerce, she was the one who really spearheaded all of this. And what it was is, yes, it's wonderful that it's in Montgomery, and those of us who've been able to go down to Alabama Shakes, like, we have a fantastic experience. And what we noticed that here is that because it moved, the people who really needed to go see it really were the ones who couldn't afford to get down there to see it, our high school students, and some of our schools. And Emily had an experience where when she was in school, they all went down to see 12th Night, but only 9 of her entire class could afford to go down there. So not only did we want to bring Shakespeare back to Anniston, professional Shakespeare back to Anniston, we wanted to make it completely affordable, regardless of gender, regardless of socioeconomic status, race, anything. Like, it is free to the public. Wow. So we are bringing in professional actors, a professional team, all these wonderful apprentices that you see around me, are high school apprentices who are getting paid to work on this show, and we are offering it to the public for free because of amazing sponsors and grants and everything.
And
so
this
you have
was
no reason
Emily's
not to come.
idea?
This was Emily's idea.
Really?
Well, John, you're no stranger to the stage. Have you ever done Shakespeare?
I have not done Shakespeare. It's one of the few
It's
things
the
I haven't done.
easiest theater to do.
Yeah. No, I would love to do Shakespeare. I just have never done a bunch of other stuff.
Well, let me give you some Shakespeare advice, okay?
Do it.
This is very important for all married men to recognize this.
Uh-oh.
The Shakespearean quote of "Methinks the lady doth protest too much," that is not a line you want to use with your wife.
No.
So don't remember that line, I guess.
Oh, dear.
All right, so you've got a production already in the works. We're going to have a show here very soon.
Yes, August 15th through the 19th is when it's happening. And we're doing Julius Caesar, which the reason we picked it, actually we didn't pick it. We asked the local English teachers what the hardest show to teach was. And they said it was Julius Caesar, so we were like, hey, we got a winner. Because we wanted to help them. And that's, I think, something that's really hard for not just the teachers here, but people in general who like read Shakespeare, is they're like, it's so difficult to read. But it was never meant to be read. It was meant to be seen and to be performed. And so those of us who are lucky enough to see it perform always have a deeper appreciation for it. I'm originally from Salt Lake City, Utah, so I had access to the Utah Shakespeare Festival. I went down there all the time, and I went to school there and everything. And so I've always loved Shakespeare, but then I realized it's because the first time I saw Hamlet, I saw it. I never read it. I saw it, and then I went back and read it and appreciated it a lot more. So we were definitely like, we need to start seeing Shakespeare again. And so, and you even brought up like, oh, how like, hey, I've done Shakespeare before. How difficult it is, it is to find actors who understand the language and are able to deliver it. Because people who say like, oh, I don't understand Shakespeare, I'm like, who did you see it with? Because they weren't performing it well. If they're performing it well, a 5-year-old should be able to understand what's going on. And so that was another reason we were like, if it's not with professional actors who've been trained and know what they're doing, like, why bother? Because it's just going to be another wall in between people and this wonderful text. And so that was really important to us too.
And you're using the Anniston Performing Arts Center.
Yeah, the original space. Yeah, so that's cool.
Festival, yeah.
Dusting off the old stage, and they still have it.
The original stage was in storage, but it's being brought out now.
And it's being brought out. It's safe. We've been told it's safe. But yeah, we're really lucky.
Yeah, Shakespeare's known for tragedies. We may have a tragedy actually occur. We need to take a quick break, and we will be right back in just a moment. We'll talk more about the Shakespeare Project here in town, and also we'll have some more bad guys that we need your help locating when we come back on Calhoun County's Most Wanted.
And welcome to the second half of our lineup. First up this half, Rosie Davis. Miss Davis, last known to be living in Anniston. She's wanted for failure to appear on Assault Second. Take a look at Dakota Millwood. Mr. Millwood, last known to be living in Ohatchee. He's wanted for a probation revocation on possession of a controlled substance, use and possession of drug paraphernalia, and domestic violence, third menacing. And we'd like you to meet Karen Abramsky. Miss Abramski, last known to be living in Anniston, she's wanted for failure to appear on possession of a controlled substance, use and possession of drug paraphernalia, and possession of marijuana second. And this is Quinta McKinney. Mr. McKinney, last known to be living in Anniston, he's wanted for a probation violation on discharging a gun into an occupied dwelling. And meet Candace Cottle. Miss Cottle, last known to be living in Florence, she's wanted on a probation violation for receiving stolen property first. And last up in our lineup this week, John Witt. Mr. Witt, last known to be living in Anniston, wanted for failure to appear on theft of property fourth. And that's it for our lineup this week. If you have any information on these folks, please give us a call at Crime Stoppers. That number 256-238-1414.
And we are back to talk more about the Shakespeare Project, a new Shakespeare experience here in Calhoun County. And Carrie's been telling us about this. And, my son's name is William, and I've got pictures of him at the birthplace of William Shakespeare at Stratford-upon-Avon there at his house. And so that's really cool. And another coincidence, William's favorite color is green, and we've got a green show that we need to know about.
Yeah, so we were just saying the performances take place the 15th through the 19th. We're doing school shows on the 15th and 16th and 17th, and then community shows the 17th, 18th, and 19th, and those will be at 7 p.m. on Friday and Saturday and 2 p.m. on Sunday. But if you want to come a little early, you will be able to see the Green Show, which will be performed by these lovely individuals around me. And the Green Show, they call it the Green Show because it's like, so since you've been to Stratford-upon-Avon, it would take place outside of like the Globe. So the actors would come out and like 30 minutes before be like, hey, come see the show. It's going to be great, singing and dancing. And they call it the Green Show because it happened on the green. So ours, we're going to modernize it a little bit and kind of play to these guys' strengths and stuff like that. But yeah.
Well, so we can go around the room, you can introduce yourself and tell us your strength.
Okay. My name is Avery Gallagher, and I'm the costume apprentice, and I guess my strength would be...
You wear clothes.
Way to go. All right, yeah.
All right, let's start over here.
My name's Stuart Henderson. I'm one of the acting apprentices, and my strength is that I also wear clothes too.
Deliver a line real quick. You're an acting apprentice.
Yes.
Deliver a Shakespearean line for us.
Way to ad-lib.
Wherefore art thou Romeo?
All right, his first performance on television is as Juliet. Excellent, well done.
Great.
Breaking barriers, I love it.
Okay, my name is Akira Dark. I go to Wilbur High School, and I'm the stage manager apprentice. And
Oh, so you like bossing people around?
yes,
Stage manager, yeah. Go now.
right.
I like it.
That's your
In
strength.
charge.
Being in command.
There you go.
All right.
I'm Catherine Copeland, and I go to Alexandria High School, and I'm the carpentry apprentice.
All right.
Give you a hammer.
Yeah.
And then shadowing me here, right? Hi.
I'm Rebecca Hearn. I'm another acting apprentice.
Okay, very good.
What's your strength? I thought so.
Are you going to do Romeo for us?
I'll be Juliet.
Oh, dear.
Well, this is cool. The only thing more fun than attending a really great live show is participating in a really great live show.
Totally.
And that with the electricity, when the audience is getting into it and you're up on the stage, and
Right.
you wouldn't know this because that's never happened with any of your shows, John. But just kidding.
Yep.
John's been in some great shows, and he's been the best part of many of them. But when you're feeling that energy coming back from the audience, and it's just going, there's nothing more fun, is there?
Totally. And that's, I mean, if you've ever been to the Globe, right, that's what the Groundlings were. They were right up front with the actors participating in all of it. And that's what that space is geared to do, that thrust space. The audience is right in front of the actors. So we're hoping that we can kind of create that same feeling.
So we've got some kids that are involved. Is it too late right now? Or we've got all the apprentice spots filled? Or?
Yeah, this year they were. So so Avery, why don't you explain how you went about getting this position?
Well, first, Emily had posted something about it on Facebook, so I was like, why not? So we went to an interview. It was with the YES program, so it was multiple different interviews, but we went and interviewed for the chamber, which would be the Shakespeare Project. So, and we just,
You
Yeah.
said, I wear clothes.
yes, that is exactly what I said. And they said, she's in,
Yeah,
100%.
Great.
And we have 5 high school apprentices, and then we also have several college-aged apprentices as well.
But again, we're going to have professionals. This is not just an amateur show, which there's nothing wrong with amateur shows,
Yeah.
but this is professional theater.
So we've got a couple actors coming from Los Angeles, a couple coming from New York, St. Louis, I'm trying to think where else, Miami. Yeah, they're coming from all over the country. We were so surprised. We did all auditions digitally. Everybody just submitted them over YouTube. And we were crazy shocked how many people were applying for this all over the country. And most of them, it was because they were super passionate about the fact that it was being offered for free to anyone. And so they were like, I'm passionate about your mission and I want to be a part of it. So super cool. We're excited to meet all of them, actually.
And we've got just a minute left, so people that have just tuned in, we've got the Shakespeare Project. This is something that's here and going to be here in town. The first show is coming up in August. What do they need to know about how they can come and be a part of it?
Great. So even though the show is free, if you want to like reserve a ticket, because there is limited space in the Anniston Performing Arts Center, you can go pick up tickets at the Calhoun County Chamber of Commerce. But of course, if you don't, please just show up at the door and we'll find you a seat. It is free for anyone. Bring your whole family. We want people to see Shakespeare.
Shakespeare performed by professional actors in a theater that was built to show
For
Shakespeare. It's great.
It's great.
All right.
And all the schools are going to get to see it.
Yes.
What,
Oh,
yeah.
what grades? All grades?
We left it up to the school what grade they wanted to
Okay.
bring, but it is Julius Caesar is required reading for 10th grade in the state of Alabama. So a lot of sophomores are coming to see Caesar here in a couple weeks. Yeah.
Very good.
Very cool. Thank you very much.
Yeah, thank
Break
you.
a leg.
Appreciate
and,
it.
We will be back in just a few moments with our Crazy Criminal and the Crime Stoppers portion of the show here on Calhoun County's Most Wanted.
And welcome to the Crime Stoppers portion of our show, where we ask your help for our investigators in the following cases. Between July 9th and July 10th, someone broke into the concession stand at the Saks Youth Sports Facility on Saks Road. A window was broken and sodas and candy were stolen from that location. And sometime between July 5th and July 11th, a burglary occurred on State Farm Road. A storage building was entered and a pool and weed eater, flux core welder, black welding helmet, rods, and reels were taken from that location. And sometime on July 14th, an unknown black males entered a store on Highway 431 North, robbed the store clerk at gunpoint. A gray Nissan Altima was identified as the suspect vehicle, and a large amount of currency was taken during that robbery. And between July 6th and July 18th, the car was broken into on Shady Lane in Jacksonville. They got away with a wallet, 2 loaded magazines, and assorted paperwork. And sometime on July 16th, a local citizen was scammed out of a large amount of money. Someone posing as a bail bondsman telephoned the victim and requested more funds for a pending bond for a relative. The scammer talked the citizen into making numerous payments through MoneyGrams, Google Play cards, and a vanilla prepaid card. Remember, no legitimate business will ask you to make payments using these type of methods. And sometime between July 18th and July 19th, numerous cars were broken into on Mountain Drive in Jacksonville. They got away with a bunch of purses, wallets, credit and debit cards, keys, and a firearm was taken at that time. And between June 1st and July 20th, a home on Airport Road in Oxford was burglarized. They got away with numerous pieces of jewelry. On July 20th, between 9 a.m. and 11:30 a.m., a home on Mud Street in East Aboga was forcefully entered. Miscellaneous jewelry and money were stolen from that location. A black male in a tan Chevrolet Trailblazer was seen in the driveway. And last up in our caseload this week, between 1 p.m. and 4:30 p.m. on July 20th, somebody illegal entered a car parked on Pine Manor Road. Money was taken from the car. Witnesses saw a suspicious white Nissan Altima occupied by a white male and a white female near the car during the time of the crime. And that's it for your caseload this week. If you have any information on these cases, and we hope you do, please give us a call at Crime Stoppers. That number, 256-238-1414. Remember, we want your information and not your name.
Stupid! You're so stupid!
All right, this may be the best example ever of adding insult to injury.
Really?
Got a young lady gets a text out of the blue from a gentleman that she went to high school with, and he wants to go out on a date with her.
Oh, okay.
And so she says yes.
Sure.
And he comes to her house, but he doesn't have a car.
Oh,
So they take her car.
of course.
Stop to get gas. He sends her in to buy him a cigar while she's in the...
He sends her in.
While she's inside, he steals her car and uses it to go pick up another girl for a date. Takes her to the movies. This other girl is like the stepsister or something. They're related in some way to the first girl. It takes the second girl to the movie theater, drive-in theater, and makes her pay for the tickets because he doesn't have any money. But police used GPS. They found him at the movie theater, and he was arrested.
What a doofus.
Yeah, this guy can get 2 dates in one night, and I couldn't. Let's not go into that. All right. That's all the time we have for this week. We'll be looking for you again next week, but hopefully not in the lineup and hopefully not in your girlfriend's stolen car on Calhoun County's Most Wanted.